Most people don't feel lost because they failed. They feel lost because they're moving. Without direction, you wake up, you work, you scroll, you sleep, and somewhere in between, a quiet thought keeps returning. Is this really my life? Here's the truth. No one tells you. It's not motivation you're missing. It's a goal that actually belongs to you. And in the next few minutes, you'll understand why one clear direction, not 10, can completely shift the next chapter of your life. If you've been feeling stuck, stay with me, because this might explain more than you expect. Have you ever woken up tired? Even after a full night of sleep, not physically tired, but tired in your soul. You go through your day. You show up to work. You smile when you're supposed to smile. But inside, something feels missing. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you don't have talent. It's not that you don't care. It's that you don't know what you're moving toward anymore. And that quiet confusion, it's heavier than exhaustion. You see other people chasing something, building something, working towards something, and you wonder, why don't I feel that fire? Why do I feel stuck while everyone else seems driven? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not bend. You're not incapable. You're just disconnected. Disconnected from something that gives direction. Disconnected from something that makes pain meaningful. Disconnected from something that makes effort worth it. Because here's the truth, no one really explains. Without a goal, life feels heavy. Without direction, even small tasks feel overwhelming. Without something to move toward, you slowly lose the energy to move at all. And maybe, lately, that's exactly how it's felt. You don't lack discipline, you lack clarity. You don't lack ability, you lack purpose. And when a human being loses purpose, even simple mornings feel like battles. So if you've been feeling unmotivated, if you've been questioning yourself, if you've been wondering why you don't feel excited about anything anymore, stay with me. Because today, we're not going to shout motivation at you. We're not going to throw empty quotes at you. We're going to talk about something real. The power of having a goal, and why one clear direction can quietly change everything. So why do so many people lose motivation? Why does that fire disappear? It usually doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It fades slowly. One small disappointment, one plan that didn't work, one opportunity that slipped away, one comparison on social media that made you feel small. And over time, you start protecting yourself. You stop aiming too high. You stop expecting too much. You stop dreaming out loud, because dreaming feels risky. When you don't set a goal, you can't fail. When you don't try too hard, you can't be disappointed. When you don't care too deeply, you can't get hurt. So your brain chooses safety. But safety has a cost. When you remove the risk of failure, you also remove the possibility of growth. And then something subtle happens. Your days start blending together. Monday feels like Thursday. Friday feels like Sunday. Nothing feels urgent. Nothing feels exciting. You're busy, but you're not building anything. You're moving, but you're not progressing. And the worst part, from the outside, your life may look fine. You have a job, you have responsibilities, you're functioning, but inside, you feel directionless. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Comparison is silently draining your energy. You see someone your age launching a business, buying a house, traveling the world, building a family. And instead of asking, what do I truly want? You start asking, why am I not there yet? You borrow other people's goals. You chase what sounds impressive. You pursue what looks successful. But borrowed goals never give real energy. They give pressure. They give anxiety. They give exhaustion, because your mind knows you're climbing a ladder you never chose. And when effort doesn't feel connected to something personal, it feels pointless. That's when people start saying, I just don't feel motivated anymore. But what they really mean is, I don't know what I'm moving toward. Motivation isn't a personality trait. It's a byproduct of direction. When you know why you're doing something, you can endure almost anything. But when you don't, Even small obstacles feel unbearable. So if you've been feeling stuck, numb, or lost, it's not because you're weak. It's because somewhere along the way, you stopped choosing a goal that belongs to you. So how do you reconnect with purpose? Not by forcing yourself to feel motivated, not by watching 10 more inspirational videos, not by writing a dramatic 5-year plan overnight. You start smaller than that. You start by asking one honest question. What would make this season of my life meaningful? Not impressive. Not profitable. Not Instagram-worthy. Meaningful, because purpose doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be yours. Maybe right now, your goal isn't to build a company. Maybe it's to rebuild your health, to get your energy back, to become someone who keeps small promises to yourself. Maybe your goal is to learn one skill deeply, to save a specific amount of money, to repair one relationship, to finish something you once abandoned. Clarity begins when you stop chasing everything and choose one direction. 1. Here's a principle most people overlook. Energy follows commitment. When you decide, truly decide that something matters, your mind begins organizing around it. You notice opportunities. You tolerate discomfort better. You wake up with slightly more intention. Not because life got easier, but because your effort has a destination, and the destination doesn't have to be permanent. You're allowed to outgrow goals. You're allowed to change direction, but drifting without any direction at all is what drains you. Start with something measurable and personal. Not be happier. Not be successful. Instead, walk 30 minutes a day for 60 days. Read 10 pages every night. Apply to 20 positions. Wake up at 6:34, train 30 days. Save $100 a week. Small goals rebuild and self-trust rebuilds identity. When you keep promises to yourself, even tiny ones, you start seeing yourself differently. You go from, I'm someone who can't stay consistent, to, I'm someone who follows through. That shift is powerful. And here's something else. Stop waiting to feel inspired before you act. Action creates clarity more often than clarity creates action. You don't need a life mission today. You need a direction for this month. You don't need certainty. You need movement. And as you move, you'll discover what fits and what doesn't. Purpose is not found in isolation. It's found in motion. So instead of asking, what is my ultimate purpose in life? Try asking, what is worth committing to for the next 90 days? That question is lighter, more practical, more human. And when you commit to something that feels real, even modest, you'll feel something shift. Not fireworks, not instant transformation, but a quiet strength. A sense that your days are no longer random. A sense that you are moving toward something and not just away from boredom. That's where motivation starts to return. Not from hype, but from direction. Let me tell you about someone named Daniel. Daniel wasn't lazy. He was unintelligent. He wasn't irresponsible. But at 32 years old, he felt like his life had quietly stalled. He had a stable job. He paid his bills on time. He showed up every day. And yet every Sunday night, he felt a heavy pressure in his chest. Not because he hated his job, but because he couldn't see where it was leading. 5 years had passed. Then 7, and nothing had really changed. His friends were getting promotions, starting businesses, getting married, buying homes. Daniel told himself he was fine. But deep down he felt replaceable, invisible, stuck in neutral. One night, after another long day, he sat in his car in the parking lot of his apartment. He didn't cry. He didn't break down. He just stared at the steering wheel and thought, if nothing changes, this will be my life. That thought scared him, not because his life was terrible, but because it was drifting. So he did something small, not dramatic, not heroic. He wrote one sentence in his phone: become physically strong in 1 year. That was it. Not change my entire life, not become rich, not find my dream, just become physically strong in 1 year. He had always felt insecure about his body. He avoided mirrors, avoided beaches, avoided photos, so instead of trying to fix everything, he chose one direction. He joined a modest gym. He committed to going 3 times a week, no matter what. The first month was awkward. He felt weak, embarrassed, out of place, but he kept going. 3 months later, something unexpected happened. It wasn't just his body changing. It was his posture, his voice, his decisions. When you keep one promise to yourself consistently, you start believing you can keep bigger ones. After 6 months, Daniel started sleeping better, eating better, planning better. He began applying for positions he previously thought were out of his league, not because the gym magically fixed his career, but because he no longer saw himself as someone who quits. 1 year later, he wasn't a different person. He was the same man, but with direction. Et had muscle, yes. But more importantly, he had momentum. And momentum spilled into everything. 2 years later, he had a new job. Higher pay, better boundaries, more confidence. Not because someone rescued him, not because he waited for motivation, but because he chose a goal that was personal, clear, and measurable. And he honored it. Daniel didn't need a life overhaul. He needed a starting point, a direction that belonged to him, and that single decision to move toward something instead of drifting quietly changed everything. Here's what most people misunderstand about goals. They think goals are about achievement, but they're not. Goals are about direction. Achievement is just a byproduct. The real power of a goal is not in reaching it. It's in who you become while moving toward it. Without a goal, time feels heavy. With a goal, time feels intentional. Without direction, effort feels exhausting. With direction, effort feels meaningful. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need certainty. You don't need to feel ready. You need a reason to wake up with intention, a reason to endure discomfort, a reason to keep going on the days when nothing feels exciting. And that reason doesn't have to impress anyone else. It just has to matter to you. If you've been feeling lost lately, don't judge yourself. Just choose a direction. Small, clear, personal. Commit to it. Honor it. Protect it. Because once you start moving toward something that belongs to you, life begins to feel different. Not easier, but stronger. And maybe that's all you've been missing. Direction. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one simple question. What am I willing to move toward for the next 90 days? Write it down. Let it guide you. And remember this. A person with a clear goal can endure almost anything. A person without one struggles with everything. Your life doesn't change when circumstances change. It changes when direction changes. And the moment you choose a goal that truly belongs to you, you take your power back. The real power of a goal is not in the applause at the finish line. It's in the quiet mornings when you choose to keep going. It's in the ordinary days when no one is watching, when progress feels slow, when doubt whispers louder than confidence. A clear goal doesn't just change your results. It changes how you walk, how you speak, how you see yourself. And that shift shows up in everyday life. It shows up when you choose discipline over comfort, when you turn off the noise and focus on what truly matters, when you stop comparing your timeline to someone else's and start honoring your own direction. Maybe your goal right now is simple: to get healthier, to rebuild your finances, to learn a skill, to become more patient, to finally finish what you started. It doesn't have to impress the world. It just has to mean something to you. Because when your days are connected to a direction, even small efforts feel powerful. You stop drifting. You start building. And slowly, you realize you're not just passing time anymore. You're shaping it. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to share it with someone who might need clarity in their own journey. I'd love to hear in the comments what goal you're committing to for the next 90 days. Writing it down makes it real. And if you believe in growing with intention, consider subscribing. so we can keep building that direction together. Your life changes the moment you decide where it's going. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next videos.